Welcome to Fuel Disclosure, a Moffitt Services podcast. On this show, you will learn how Moffitt Services is pioneering the fuel delivery industry. From fuels and lubricant product news, to stories from the community, to recent industry trends with subject matter experts. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a moment from Moffitt. To learn even more about the Moffitt Services difference, visit moffittservices.com.
So, we're here for another podcast of Fuel Disclosure. Today, I've invited Angela Johnson to sit down to me, and we're going to talk a little bit about site services. I'm Fred Whitfield. That's Angela Johnson. Welcome, Angela. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Fred. It's good to see you.
Good deal. Good to see you also. So, we're going to dive right into it. So, you've pretty much taken over the site services part of Moffitt Companies. And we just want to talk a little bit about exactly what you do.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I started, promoting the site services division of Moffitt. And in the last couple of years, it's been phenomenal. Our growth in the Houston market has been great. And yeah, that's my primary focus. It's just to make sure our customers, our Moffitt customers, know everything that we do. And for anybody who doesn't, just continue to spread the word.
Right. And so now we're not just about fuel. We've got several other components that go hand in hand with Moffitt. And so I think what we're after, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that we want to have a one-stop shop for customers, not only fuel, everything else that we provide.
Yeah. So, one call does it all. We have shirts that even say, if you have an issue or something, just call Moffitt, just call Moffitt. And there's a reason for that. So Moffitt, they really strive as a company to solve a lot of issues, and not just issues that happened in the past, but they foreshadow, any issues that could happen in the future. And one of the ways that we do that as a company is to be able to provide solutions for our customers to where they could just call one person or one company and order fuel, lubricants, toilets, dumpsters, vacuum truck services, fencing. And there's not many other fuel companies that also offer a site services division, which I think is extremely helpful and convenient for our customers.
I totally agree with you there. And so the one question that I really wanted to touch on is we're here in Houston now, site services is, but we've also expanded to Dallas market. Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So one thing I always try to explain and educate any of our customers, whether they're from the Houston area or the Dallas area, or they're from Texas or not from Texas, it still needs to be explained. When people think about the Houston market, we're not talking about, downtown Houston.
Right.
When we talk about the Dallas market, we're not just talking about downtown Dallas. You have in Houston, College Station to Galveston, the Bolivar Peninsula. We go to Beaumont outside of Houston, Lake Jackson, Angleton, Victoria, all of these, cities.
Surrounding cities.
Yes, surrounding cities. And I think it's so important for people to understand Dallas and Houston are extremely large markets. It's not just Dallas anymore. Right. It's Fort Worth. And I heard that you can't say DFW anymore. Apparently it's like completely divided. But again, McKinney, DeSoto, all of these towns and cities within the greater Dallas area is considered what we consider the Dallas market. Same thing goes for Houston. Right. Both markets are growing exponentially. There is so much business, so much growth, so much land in between our cities.
Yeah, the construction in both these cities is just on fire.
It is on fire. And for Moffitt, just being able to service the Houston and surrounding cities, Dallas and the surrounding cities, that's huge for us because there's not a lot of companies that will travel 150 miles for one stop on a day, every day. Mm-hmm. And we are able to do that. the dedication of our drivers and our dispatch and the logistics component and all of that, we're able to get that done, not just on a fuel and emergency side, but on an everyday business, day-to-day business, core side too. So I think that's really important to explain to so many people that the market isn't just Houston. I mean, it's surrounding, and we put our trucks, we try to cover the most part of it. So
I don't want to say this in a malice or whatever you want to call it, arrogant way, but we're trying to take over.
Oh, hey, you know what? But it starts with a yes. And I think that there's so many people out there that they're not willing to go that extra distance. They're not willing to say yes to a longer, 20 gallons, 150 gallons, 10,000 gallons. I think it really is just filling a need. Some of these customers, they need, the growth is on the outer parts of the city. And it's not there. Yes, there's different construction sites and different jobs going on within cities, but the growth and the majority of these solar farms, data centers, different plants, all of the things, all that growth is outside of that greater city. And I think that is something that over the last, 7 years that I've been with Moffitt, they've done a really good job of capturing on those markets and being able to provide not just like service, but really good service. And our customers understand that we'll get it done. We'll go there. We'll do it.
I'm going to tell a little story about you here really quick. And this was back when I was in sales, we would go into a sales meeting, on Thursday, Fridays, whenever they were, Monday mornings. And so I actually started out delivering fuel.
Oh, that's right.
I delivered leads. I've done almost just about anything here at the company. And I think I've mentioned it before, but I've also been a part of some collections. I've had friends that were in high places out in West Texas, and bills got to be astronomical, and they'd pick up the phone and say, hey, do you know anybody at such and such company? And I mean, I could pick up the phone and get a check.
Yeah.
So being in those sales meetings back in the day, I can remember you coming in and saying, guys, I passed 20 tanks coming in to work this morning, and they weren't Moffitt tanks.
That's right.
What are y'all doing?
Yeah.
What are y'all doing?
Yeah.
And so for me, seeing you come in and say that in a sales meeting, I knew that you had the right attitude. And I know I'm not just tooting your horn because you're sitting here.
I really appreciate that.
But that stuck with me, and it stuck with me to this day.
Yeah.
Somebody come in, because I used to say the same thing to Roy. Me driving around the city, delivering fuel, whatever the case may be. And I said, what the hell is that tank doing this close to our office?
Yeah, exactly. Why isn't it in our backyard?
Yeah, what is that tank doing this close to? This is our playground here.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be no outsiders. But, I mean, with everything going on now, I mean, everywhere we go, just like driving to this office, I've seen there's 2 or 3 2Ks.
Oh. Right there.
I mean, we could walk right out of this office, and they're sitting there at that company. And so those are the kind of things that
Moffitt Red.
Moffitt Red. And, being around the Moffitts pretty much my entire life since I was 3 or 4 years old. I mean, and I say we.
Yeah, no, I say we all the time.
I feel like I'm a part of the family pretty much. And so they're never going to say no.
That's right.
No matter how small the job is, no matter how big the job is, we figure out a way to make it happen. And I think that goes a long way in this industry.
It does. And, just to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, so I started in inside sales, and I think you were driving a fuel truck or something. I didn't know who you were when I first met you. Thunder Creek, that's right. It was Thunder Creek. I didn't know who you were. You were just Fred, the Thunder Creek driver, to me, and then, everybody's like, oh my gosh, Fred. I was like, oh, this is really neat, and then I remember I found your Wikipedia page, and I texted you and Roy the Wikipedia page. I'm like, look, y'all are on Wikipedia. I thought it was the coolest thing. But what I found, the reason I say that is because, my husband works for Moffitt. My daughter works for Moffitt. And, my husband works for Moffitt Caswell. My daughter works for Moffitt Services. And I feel like a part of the family too. And one of the biggest reasons why I feel that way is because of the employees at Moffitt. So I think there's a special kind of person that has to work in a service industry. I have a servant heart. I want to help. Like if there's a problem, I want to dive head first in there and try to figure out what we can do to solve it.
Right.
And that day in that sales meeting, when I said that, I mean, it just, people make things so much harder than what I think they need to be. And you swallow your pride, you swallow your ego, and you just go up and you grind, and it takes a little bit of grit, takes a little bit of getting dirty, knocking on doors and being heard. No, 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 no. I'm good. I'm happy. Well, we all say that.
Yeah.
But when you have something like Moffitt, the Moffitt companies, and what we offer, it's more than just a level of like, oh, here's a list of what we offer. We offer dumpsters and toilets and fuel and lubricants. We offer all of this. Again, I go back to the employees. It takes a special kind of person to work in a service industry. We offer service. So yes, we have all of these things, you could put it on a project checklist. Well, we knock probably about 90% of what you need to start a project. We can handle it.
Yep.
But the expertise that we have on staff at Moffitt, whether it's lubricant, where our warehouse people, you have a tank that needs to be fixed, piping that needs to be welded, any kind of like little thing that you have, that you're on a job site and you run in and you find yourself in a bind.
Constantly going the extra mile.
We constantly do, and we don't say no. And it's like, okay, I get a call. Okay, well, this is going on. Something's wrong. All right. Well, I know who to call. I know what door to knock on and say, hey, this is what's going on. We need to figure out a better solution. And putting together the team, the people that work with Moffitt, the teams that we have, like on staff, that are constantly helping to solve these problems. I think it's a huge component that we say service, but we don't touch enough on the amount of expertise that we have within our own four walls. And I think it's amazing.
Building lifelong relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Moffitt's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Just like, it's a family-owned business. It's been around for years. Everyone knows the Moffitts. And I think that's really important. So the growth that these cities are having is the same growth that Moffitt is anticipating and planning for years in advance. And it happens overnight. You blink and it's like, oh my goodness, I was just answering a phone call and I didn't even know what a fuel tank was or a 12-volt pump. Like, overnight you just have this wealth of knowledge of the things that we do, but also the people who do them.
Yeah. And so we talked a little bit about the DFW, and we're in Hazlitt, we're in Georgia West, we're in Midland, we're
Austin,
Pecos, Austin,
Abilene.
Yeah. Obviously here in Houston, Cypress, that's 7. And probably going to branch out a little bit more. I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes.
The planning process is already starting,
Yes. And so Moffitt's going to be around for a while, guys, and we would just like a shot at your business.
Absolutely.
Whether it's toilets, dumpsters, fuel, lubricants, however we can help you, don't hesitate. Moffitt has a one-stop shop now. You can get everything done with us. And Angela, I really appreciate you taking out time to come and sit down and talk to me today.
Absolutely. I will just add to, my most favorite part of this position is to work with our customers. It is vital to, I think, anybody's business, no matter what your industry is, to have a valued trade partnership.
Right.
Working with other trades that you could sit down, round table, discuss, problem solve, come up with new ideas, fresh ideas, how we can do it better. That's one of the best parts about this position that I'm in, because I get to help our customers in those planning stages. So I get to not only help the growth of this company, but I get to help the growth of our customers' companies and their work and their industries. And I think that's probably it's very rewarding, especially because, I don't know. I feel like the Moffitt companies are a family, and we
That's
treat our customers the same way.
That's so great to hear.
Yeah.
You know, it's in the world we live in today, and I don't ever want to be a negative person
Yeah.
because I didn't get to where I've been in life being negative.
Right.
But it's just so refreshing to hear that from a person that I mean, you wake up every day and you're excited about what you do for a living.
Yeah. I try
thank
building
you.
relationships that,
Thank you
long
so
term.
much.
Yeah.
Really
Well, thank
appreciate
you.
it.
I'm excited to be here and finally do a sit down podcast that I'm a little bit prepared for.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, good. Thanks, Fred.